Hey everyone, it's Jeremy. I am here to talk to you about this episode. This was recorded live at the Duckstream event. So the audio quality is probably not up to what you usually expect from a Duckfeed podcast, even when it's just me editing and not Cole. So this is pulled directly from the Skype call and my local audio, and we were streaming this out onto the internet to raise money for the charity Transactive. And if you've listened to Duckstream or watched Duckstream, you know what all of that is about. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that the audio is not to its usual quality. There's also some kind of lag and delays, and I didn't do my usual editing with all of the cuts from the show or the movie or whatever, because it's just not worth it, to be honest with you. Also, you're about to hear a little intro that Gary did. He made this thing based on the clips that I gave him from the movie. It was at like 1 in the afternoon, and he had been up streaming for probably 16 hours at that point. You can watch that video over on the YouTube. I'll put a link to that in the chat. So it's kind of interesting to watch him actually put that stuff together. I had never seen him do it, so I had no idea how it was done, so it was kind of cool to be able to watch that. I might be the only person interested in that, though. Who knows? Also, final thing, I promise, and then I will let you get into the episode. The track at the end of this is a cover of the X-Men animated series theme song. It is by a band called the Little Big Bangs. They're listeners of the show, or at least one of them is a listener of the show, and they wrote in and they said some nice things about us, which was very nice, and then also sent us the song, and I asked them if we could use it in an episode, and they said yes, so I'm putting it at the end of this episode. I'll have a link to that in the show notes as well, so you can go check it out and possibly spend some money. They are apparently selling cassette versions of this, because that's what bands do nowadays. One last thing, I promise. I forgot to hit record as soon as we started, so it's going to sound like we just basically started at the very, very beginning of the episode. No content is missing, however. It's just, I think, the introduction most of all. So this is me, Gary, Nick, and Brayton, all talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine. Thanks, everybody.
What? My name. What? My name. What? My name. What? My name. What? My Cuckoo got screwed.
What are we talking about, Jeremy?
We were talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is not to be confused by a later movie they titled The Wolverine, but this is actually the origin of Wolverine. So we get to go to Canada, y'all. It's going to be fun.
In general, I like going to Canada more than Japan with Wolverine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He doesn't go to Japan and scream Heather into the wilderness. So I'm all for Canada.
Has he like made a trip to Spain or anything?
Wolverine goes to Ibiza all the time, Brayton. You didn't know this?
Korean wine.
I'm here for the bubbles, bub.
So we're going to go through it for people who are just tuning in to Duckstream who don't listen to Days of Future Cast. What is Days of Future Cast? Jeremy, explain Days of Future Cast.
It is a excuse for us to make a bunch of sexual jokes about the X-Men and pretend that we're talking about the X-Men animated series from the early 90s. And in between the seasons of that animated series, we cover movies, and I think we've only ever covered movies so far. So we've done X-Men 1, 2, and 3. This is the next one in the series, and we're slowly but surely working our way through the entire canon of the X-Men cinematic universe, the XMCU, if you will.
we are coming up. We're rounding out season 4 of the cartoon. So we are almost out of the cartoon, but we have lots of movies left.
Yeah.
We also did Logan and the Generation X TV movie.
That's true. Tomorrow, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you get access to that sweet early feed. You can listen to the Christmas episode. And if you guys have been waiting for Gary to talk about Table Boy, you guys should definitely check out the episode, because it's way better than I ever thought it would be. So.
I'm not a religious man, and Christmas doesn't mean a whole lot to me as somebody without a family. It is a Christmas miracle, that episode. It is not that episode of our show, that episode of the cartoon. It is it makes me feel like I am at the manger, like ground zero for the Jesus bomb that exploded in everyone's hearts. It is incredible.
It's truly something, and not to like burn that cast, but man, there's so many weird things that happen. There's an anime sewer baby that Jubilee bonds with. Like that seems like it's out of context enough to just maybe get people's attention. But literally an anime sewer baby. Like I don't know what the hell they were thinking with this show.
It's also the primary plot is Wolverine trying to stop Morlocks from getting medicine.
He is the Grinch that stole sewer Christmas.
Yeah, they're trying to they were just trying to eat food off of the sewer floor, and Wolverine ain't having it. It is so good for Wolverine. Wolverine is weirdly, I think, the through line through good characters of the show, between having the most movies and being kind of the all-star of the cartoon, especially lately.
Yeah, absolutely. Like as we get it more into it, they lean on the voice actor for Wolverine more than they do anybody else, and it actually works for the show really well. So
yeah, that is the kind of mix of ironic appreciation and regular appreciation you can get on the regular show, and you will get for the next 90 minutes or so as we talk about X-Men Origins Wolverine, which, did you know, Jeremy, that this was written by like one of the Game of Thrones guys? This is like written by David Benioff.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
there's
that David Benioff.
But there's no incest. What are you talking about? Wait, is there? Wait, I'm trying. Well, maybe he's actually related to that chick that he. Well, of course they don't have sex in the show. Like it's implied sex that they have after he kind of cuts her a little bit. So I don't know. It's weird. I did not know that.
It'd be very strange if she was religious, because I think that it's implied that it's supposed to be Emma Frost's sister, or not religious, related. It's the same difference. There's a trivia bit. So the way this movie opens is very similar, based to the comic book Wolverine Origins, or Origin. And David Benioff says that's his favorite comic. And have you read that?
I have. It's absolutely terrible. I hate it so much.
Yeah, it's extremely dumb. Like I hate it so much. Like it's like 6 issues of like, what if Wolverine was a sick kid?
Yep.
And we talk a lot about how lame it is when Wolverine loses his powers, or when he like doesn't do anything. Like he's just because he keeps going off to different cultures to do their chores. But it's like they just keep pulling him back. Like what if he wasn't? Not only was he not doing cool shit, he was also a little kid, but not like X-23. Like there's little kid Wolverine can work. What if he's real sick? He's bedridden for most of the comic.
And has like an abusive.
What if he's the worst kid from the It movie, right? Like that's what that whole comic book series is. He's the kid that gets eaten at the very beginning of the It movie.
Yeah, Georgerine, So this starts off with that. There's a little kid who's sick in bed, and there's like little baby Wolverine and little baby Sabretooth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Victor is immediately kind of shitty to Wolverine, like with no reason that I can kind of tell, right? Like he's just like you're so sick and you suck, and I'm like, wait, what history is there?
What is going on? Like it's just like, what if there is one kid who will murder another kid, and that's like how the movie begins. Like I will slit this kid's throat. Why? Because he's sick, and I don't like it, and that's like the extent of it. Like, I was very, very surprised.
It's not great.
And then the dad, yeah, it's not super great. The dad comes in, who's not abusive in the movie, comes in, like hugs little Wolverine, and then there's a disturbance downstairs. He goes downstairs, and here's a dad Wolverine, like Grandpa Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Teen Wolf.
Yeah. Wolverine from Pay to Butterfly, and we get to see the entire thing during this.
I had a moment here. I don't know if this happened to you, that I thought that the first dad Wolverine, fake Wolverine dad, was actually just Hugh Jackman all CGI'd up, and it was like really confusing for a little bit. But I guess it's not. But it really looked like him for me for a second.
It's before you realize how bad the CG is in this movie.
Yeah. Because oof.
It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, chat skipped ahead of it, but we've already talked about a CGI specific.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Like it's extremely rough.
I don't like any of this.
So like little kid Wolverine goes into a rage, pops his little bone claws, kills Fakey Dad.
That sounds like something you should be able to get arrested for, is popping little bone claws.
Yeah, you shouldn't pop little bone claws. It's Santa Claus's like degenerate brother. So he kills his dad. Little baby Sabretooth comes out and says that wasn't your real dad. And then credits, I think is how I remember it. Does that comport with your memory?
Absolutely.
I think that's right. Yeah.
I see we ate the same pot brownies that night. There's just immediately credits. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel much like Jeremy's wife that I have already checked out of this movie.
And about pot brownies, like I am not a big stoner, but I don't understand how anyone watches this like sober and pay attention.
I have no idea. Yeah. It would be absolutely impossible because like Wolverine, like after he kills his own dad and gives his mom a shitty look for it, which I thought was really rude of Wolverine, because like how does this dude know anything about like adultery or anything like that? Like he's like 6. But then like Victor guilt trips him into running away, and then the village calls dogs on him, Gary. Like they just call the dogs on these kids. Who called the dogs?
The dogs and fire.
It's amazing how many poor things happen to this poor kid in this movie, including fighting in every single war that's ever been over the credits.
This sequence is so like you could tell like somebody was like a screenwriter somewhere was just jerking off about this sequence because they were so happy and proud of it.
It's kind of good if it wasn't like, why does this keep happening? Like, why is he enlisting for every single war, including wars like that, like non-wars where he lives? Like he's fucking Canadian, man.
He doesn't like. I'm assuming that Canada fought a war somewhere in the last 200 years, right? Like but he's only ever fighting for the U.S. It's weird.
It's like history of war thing about him and Sabretooth being buddies. And we should say they changed Sabretooth. He's like Taylor Maine or something like that in the first one, but in this one it's Liv Schreiber, and he's really good. Elite Schreiber. I think it's really good casting of this. He had to bulk up. They were going to have him wear a bodysuit, but he felt emasculated, so he asked for 3 months to train. And he ate so much chicken, he called his training regimen chicken genocide.
Wow.
So it was his protein superload.
That's a lot of chicken to eat. Like, I mean, I've never genocided a food group before, but like, go Liv Schreiber, I guess.
How many chickens do you think you've eaten? Like in entirety? Like, how many chickens are you responsible for the death of?
Oh, God. Like this year? Or like... What are we talking about? I don't know. I'll say like, let's say 10,000 chickens I may be responsible for. I mean, I love chicken tenders, and I'm assuming that they just kill all of the chicken to produce one tender at a time. So.
They just put the whole thing in a mold.
Yeah. It's called the tender because every chicken only has one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the tender, juicy bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the secret slice.
Then you just throw the rest.
Yeah, you throw it all out. Save that tender.
Let's see that chickens can live.
Yeah, you can get one chicken can produce one chicken tender and 20 chicken nuggets from McDonald's. That's the ratio.
Each nugget also comes from an individual chicken tender. So there's a whole crafting tech tree as you kind of go up and refine your chickens into the ultimate form, aka the nugget.
Would you say that the chicken nugget is the secondary mutation of the chicken tender?
Charles, what's happening?
I think it's more like...
I hate this. I hate this sequence too in the credits where they're going through all the wars, because this is where they also have learned a move, and they call out their move when they do it. And their move, it isn't like a fastball special or anything like that. Like, it's not an X-Men move. It's just literally the thing you see in any kind of action movie, and they call it out as back to back, as if it's important. And I'm like, really? You can't even call it like claws out or anything. Like, what are you doing?
This is the porcupine maneuver.
Exactly.
The sequence ends with them getting shot in a firing squad because Sabretooth is like going too far and going to Berserker Legions. And then we get to modern times where they work with Weapon X, and we got to talk about this cast of like Weapon X, because like you and I are suckers for cameos. And this movie has them, but it's like a monkey's paw wish thing, because none of them are good.
You mean it's like an X-Men movie where you all the cameos to be good, but it's not. They mess them up in some way.
Now, again, I haven't watched this movie, but let me see if I can remember from the previews. It was Sabretooth?
Yep. Well,
Good job.
Gunhammer?
Gunhammer.
Wolverine.
Will I am as Gunhammer.
Well, no, it's actually not. There's another Gunhammer.
Yeah, there's two Gunhavers. Yeah.
Gunhammer Jr. It's not Agent Zero.
Yeah, you're right. That
Is
Gunhammer.
Gunhammer
Gunhammer Prime.
Alpha. And then Will I Am is Gunhammer Second. And then Blob.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was not very blobby when he first.
No, he's just like a strong guy.
Yeah. He gets a little blobbed up later on. But...
Man is like that is some bad stuff. Like it's disgusting. Like it looks like nothing but trouble. The movie.
I'm gonna turn us up a little bit.
So we got that crew. They're in a helicopter. They're going down to somewhere. Like do you know where they're going? It's like an African village, and then they go to like a warlord's mansion.
Yeah, none of this makes sense at all because, like, it's just, you know what this reminds me of is, like, the beginning of a real shitty version of The Raid. It's where instead of, like, crazy cool martial arts, we get, like, you know, Deadpool cracking jokes in the elevator. Which, I mean, speaking of Deadpool, like, this is probably, like, the first part of this movie paves the way for the modern-day Deadpool movie in a way that I was not expecting at all. Like, Ryan Reynolds was just playing this character 10 years ago. I had no idea.
It's amazing. It's really kind of sad because he's always wanted to play that character. That's Ryan Reynolds' thing. He found out this was happening. Deadpool was going to be in it, so he lobbied to get it. And then this is what they did. So the beginning part of it, where he's just acting like a kind of smartass, like it's the same character. He does it pretty much the same way he does in the modern Deadpool movie. And then they do to him what they're going to do to him, which we'll talk about. But it's not good, and it is sad for Ryan Reynolds, kind of. I guess.
Yes.
But the big takeaway here as they go through, so everyone does a power sequence kind of thing. Like the Blob puts his hand in a tank thing, and Sabretooth climbs up a wall in a real like wire fu kind of way. But then when Deadpool, this is the part when we were off mic, you were telling us that Autumn checked out. When he came into it and did this sword swirling thing in the boardroom.
Oof. This is
It's
like
so
just
dumb.
not how anything works ever. Like I don't like he just like I don't know what he like. Is he a fire twirler or something? Like is he a circus performer? Is that what he's doing here? It doesn't.
And it deflects bullets, and it's like every single person on this team could have done what you just did. Took out like a guy full of guns, or a room full of guns, or a guy full of guns, which is
Gunhammer.
yeah, Gunhammer in general.
The secondary
You also have
mutation
Lucian Gunhammer.
is a shotgun, a guy full of shotguns.
Yeah, my secondary mutation is I swallowed a 38. Anybody could have done this. He does it. The CGI looks really bad. Like the action is extremely bad. All of this is to go to that guy to get the meteorite paperweight he has that he doesn't care about, which like send him an email and say like, hey, I'll buy that paperweight for $40, and like he'd probably do it. 2, that's adamantium. 3, it came from fucking space.
Yeah.
Like, why is adamantium from space? Jeremy?
I don't know. Like, I mean, like they're in Africa. Like they obviously know a little bit about like where adamantium comes from in the comic books. So like, why are they fucking around with a meteorite or something? Like it doesn't. I don't get it. And then like they get that very small bit of adamantium, and I guess they just stretch that shit super thin and to wrap it around like Wolverine's bones or whatever. Because my dude, like there is not a lot of it. It's like a handful of adamantium. That's not a lot.
It goes on so many skeletons. And if you're going to be in Africa and you need a super strong indestructible metal, I can think of one that's associated with that country that's not adamantium. Also not from space. It's so dumb. So like every time in the movies Wolverine's walking around, he has space metal on his bones, man. It's like the color out of space. It is super weird. Like a haunted meteorite came and gave him his adamantium skeleton.
Yeah, this is super dumb. Who is the? I think I know who the answer to this, but I kind of stopped reading comics in the late '90s because everybody stopped reading comics in the late '90s. I think, but like, who is the Gunhammer dude? Like, where is he from? Because as far as I can tell, like, there's a moment later where he just literally shoots a cigar that Wolverine is like in Wolverine's mouth, and I'm like, that's not how guns work at all. But okay, sure, whatever. Like, who is this a dude? Because like they keep calling him Zero, but I don't know. Is this some like weird Weapon X thing that I just missed at some point?
It's like another paramilitary organization thing that Wolverine was involved with.
The Phalanx Covenant?
More or less. Like it's
Sure.
a mid. Like I wish it was late 90s. It's mid 2000s. Like Marvel continuity stuff. Like it's based from a comic that Howard Mackey wrote, and people who like read comics in the early and mid 2000s, like Howard Mackey, is one of those like names to run away from in comics. Like he's a Chuck Austin level. So he's a creation of that. Same thing with that the other guy, the guy who plays the Lord of the Rings kid, who's the Electropath guy, who's on this entire mission to power up the elevator.
Yeah, I mean, this dude is just like you say that he's like a Lord of the Rings kid. I recognize him from Lost. He was like the English rock and roll star that got trapped on the island. But his powers are just to light up light bulbs apparently, and to like at some point he lands an airplane with those same powers. Like, are airplanes just flown by electricity, like pure electricity now? Is that how airplanes work?
It's the same power that a child science project potato has. This kid has that mutant power. Like when you go to the science fair and there's a light bulb and a potato, and you're like, oh, that seems like better than a normal potato. Like that, as far as potatoes go, that is a powerful potato, and that is what this guy is.
You kind of glitched out, and I came back in talking about potatoes, and now I can only think that this guy's playing the potato in Portal 2. Like that's this dude's whole power is just to play the potato that holds GLaDOS. I guess spoilers for.
Yeah, for Portal 2.
For Portal 2.
Yeah,
well,
it is in the
sorry,
extended Wolverine verse. So the next scene is the carnival scene, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, which is also extremely weird because, like, we get a couple of like good old country rubes, and I guess I don't understand like what this dude is doing, like what the trick is here, because they're like, oh, you have 3 chances. You pay me $10 and you have 3 chances to turn off a light bulb, and he has this like block of wood with a bulb thing in it. So of course the chick like turns off the switch, and I'm like, you fucking idiot, of course it's not the switch. Like if it was the switch, why would it be a game? What are you doing? He's
extremely rubish. These people, rubes is the right word. These pigeons, these marks.
Yep.
So they do that. He goes back to his trailer where Sabretooth is waiting to murder him.
Yeah, Victor just walks in and this dude is instantly terrified. We should talk about this like man-child's room first, though, because this guy went from super secret government murder squad member to I have a room full of toy trains and light bulbs that I play with on a regular basis while I sit in my trailer and drink. Like, yeah, I have never seen a career change like that a huge career swing like that before.
It's like Mark McGrath.
How's it going?
Like you have, he went from Sugar Ray to Entertainment Tonight or Entertainment Weekly or whatever.
Exactly.
So it's a career path like Mark McGrath. Yeah.
Are we? Is our audio better, everybody? Because I know we were having a bunch of weird issues on our audio. Like, am I still echoing? I tried to do something over here to reduce my volume to match you guys, but
in general, we're just it's just a little too quiet through this mic, and it picks you up a little bit too much.
I can get in a little closer.
Yeah, we'll get Gary in a little bit closer. Yeah, sure. We'll get Gary in a little bit closer, and I'll play with mics after Days of Future Cast. But for now, we'll let it ride. People have to have their volumes up a little bit more than we'd like, but
I can turn my gain down.
Project a little more, Gary. We'll be all right.
Okay, I think this will make a big difference as a directional mic. So, sorry, everybody.
So yeah, Victor, and they don't ever call Victor Sabretooth in this. Like, this is before he got sabered, I guess. I was really hoping that we could get the origin of the word Sabretooth in this, because those are two very distinct things that you don't normally associate with one another. So, whoops, I guess we don't get to know that. So much for the origins in X-Men Origins Wolverines.
Well, we do get the origin of how Wolverine calls himself Wolverine, but I think going as far as say it's not very satisfying.
Gary, it's the dumbest thing in this movie, which is saying a whole fucking lot, because later Ryan Reynolds gets retractable swords, and this and the way that Wolverine is made is still fucking that dumb.
It's still the dumbest thing that happened in the movie. It's like nonstop dumb, like, because when Sabretooth stabs Little Boy, Wolverine has like a dream about it and wakes up screaming. So he's got like a psychic link with his teammates or something.
And this is where his girlfriend, who he clawed up in the middle of this, and this is where like Autumn was like, "Are you fucking serious? Like, no chick in the world would stay around a dude after this. Like, I don't care how nice you are. Like, if you get woke up being stabbed with bone claws, you're leaving the house on the top of the mountain. You're gone. Period."
Like, she doesn't get stabbed, but she could have been. Like, it'd be like, I don't expect anyone to sleep next to me if I just like explode into bullets whenever I have a nightmare. You know, as Gunhammer Supreme, like just it's real scary. But to calm him down, she tells him this story, which is how he gets the name. Right? Does it happen now or after the lumberjack scene?
No. To calm him down now, I think she just like has like PG-13 sex with him. Like that was the resolution of this. It's not till later that she puts on the "I'm about to die" nightgown and tells him the story. So.
So he goes off to cut trees and do chores because Wolverine's going to Wolverine no matter where he's at. And he gets visited by
cutting down trees. What is this like trend? I don't.
It's Canadian.
Oh, hey, you got it.
It's a racist.
That's literally it. Thank you, Brayton. Thank you very much.
This is where the cigar scene happens, where he's like smoking a cigar, and he looks over at Agent Zero, who shoots it out of his mouth, and nobody else on this construction yard has a problem with this guy pulling a gun out and shooting this close to Wolverine's head.
The thing that this movie taught me the most is that Canadians don't give a fuck about any superhero bullshit. There's a moment later on where Wolverine and Sabretooth are fighting, and Sabretooth throws Wolverine into a truck, and the truck doesn't honk, stop, swerve, or anything. He hits Wolverine and just disappears. It just goes. It's like, oh god, I hit another superhero guy. I just gotta keep going. I got deadlines, man. I gotta go.
Not again. It's also, they come here, I got a note here where they're kind of yelling at Wolverine and being like, you don't want to keep doing this. You want to become a government agent again. It must suck to be a lumberjack and make what? $18,000 a year? And Wolverine goes, 18.5. Like, if you're a lumberjack, you make more than $18,000 a year. Like, that's extremely little money for super physical hard labor.
I'm assuming you get paid per log, right? Like, that's the only fair way to do it in a free market capitalistic society.
If you get paid per log, he's got to be like, do you think he just does like 2 a.m. and then goes home to have nightmares? Or do you think that like, because like that, it just seems like he could chop logs better than other people.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the metal claws yet. Like, he only has the bone claws, and like the bone claws aren't
right.
good for trees, right? Like, that just is not going to work. So like, he has to just use an axe like a normal dude.
Yeah. You need to replace rock, paper, scissors with bone, adamantium, tree.
Yeah, adamantium tree. Like, but, if I love the idea that Wolverine, hey kids, it's your favorite superhero. Here's him doing superhero stuff for about 2 minutes. Now he's the worst lumberjack. Like, now he's got a job and also he's bad at it.
Yeah, he's not very good at it. And I wonder if the ending of Dexter is the origin of Wolverine, right? Like, I wonder if Dexter just turns into Logan at the end of that series. Spoiler! I guess I'm spoiling Portal 2 and Dexter now, y'all. Sorry.
It's okay. For those of you who had that crossover in that fandom, it's a bad day for you, and we apologize. All I love is like charitably like 2 degrees below average prestige TV, and the greatest games of all time.
Yep.
So,
so at this
I'm kind of good.
This is where like Logan almost gets into a fight and murders a couple of people because they won't move their trucks, which is kind of like the introduction into Logan's anger issues, which is kind of a weird thing because like the whole reason he left the super secret government death squad is because he didn't want to see a bunch of innocent people get murdered. So he moves to Canada, where I guess he just murders people whose like trucks break down in front of him or just like bothers him in any way.
Yeah. Because they're all superhero blind. Like, they don't know that it's happening.
Sure.
Like, if there's a superhero, Canadian can't see it. He's gonna murder him. This is actually foreshadowing because his girlfriend like puts her hand on her arm. It's like, hey, calm down. And she's using her powers, which like is a weird twist.
Yeah, it's a pretty late movie twist that this chick is a kind of a plant, is someone that Stryker has put into to hang out with Wolverine so that they could keep an eye on him. For like, which seems like a real long game kind of thing for Stryker. Like, we're just gonna plant this mutant chick with Wolverine and let him sleep in the Colorado mountains for 6 years and not worry about him. And then
and then eventually, once we've killed all of his friends, we'll stick all of his powers into Deadpool. Like, the villain plot in this is animated series level bad.
It's real bad.
Like, yeah, it's extremely, extremely bad. There. So this is where she tells him the origin. Like, right? Like, this is where she does tells him the origin of the Moon's wife.
I'm gonna be real clear on this. I did not listen to this bullshit.
Sorry, Jeremy. I set Brayden off saying the origin of the Moon's wife, and I missed that.
It's okay. I just want to be real clear that I did not listen to this at all. Like, this was total garbage bullshit, and I just like, I refused to put this in my brain. I tuned back in when he was like, and that was the Moon, and I was like, okay, yeah. And she's like, no, that was the Wolverine, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess the movie's about to start again, because that was, this is the worst. It went on forever.
Well, it's like, she says the word for the myth in her culture, and Wolverine says, like, she's like, what is it you do? And he's like, I'm the best at what I do. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Like, he makes fun of the word she uses, and it's like, dude, this is your girlfriend. Stop. Like, you gotta stop being a dickhead. Like, it is a silly way for Wolverine to get his name, but also don't just be like, yeah, your myths are dumb. It's like a Beatles lyric. I'm gonna go chopping trees. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
it's
not
amazing.
great. Yeah, and she is totally put on like the in any movie you see a woman put on this like white negligee thing, this piece of lingerie, like she's instantly about to die in the next scene. And sure enough, like Sabretooth shows up, or excuse me, Victor shows up, and like there's a weird thing here where Wolverine like smells a dead animal while he's working, and then walks over, and then there's like Victor sign on the trees. Like Victor has apparently just clawed a tree for no reason. Mm-hmm. And Wolverine decides to run as fast as he can, and I'm like, dude, where is, like, borrow a truck? Like, there has to be a truck on this just go get a truck.
How about the truck he drove to work? He knows what Victor's sign means. He goes over there, sees that she was like fake killed, because she shows up later. She's a plant, fake killed. And then goes to this bar where Victor is, that is also a barn and also a garage. Like, could you figure out this space at all?
No, not at all. I don't get any of this that's happening.
It's like a gigantic like barn where there's a huge log bar. There's a guy standing behind it with a bunch of bottles behind him, but there's no like bar back area. There's nowhere for a keg to be attached.
Nope.
There's nothing. Like, it's just a broom with a bar, and then there's like a truck inside it and logs. Like, it is the weirdest bar.
I would imagine, like, if you're the barkeep at this like non-bar log collection facility, that somebody coming in and like carving their name, or in Victor's case, a smiley face into the bar, would be pretty normal. But this dude like wigs out about it. I guess because he has like, well, Victor has like fingernails or whatever, but he's like, you're not from around here, huh? And I'm like, my dude, like, everything in here is wood, and you don't have guys carving on it all the time. Like, I've been to third grade. I know how this works.
And if you did see the claws, be scared. Like, what is going on in Canada? Like, you can't just, like, he's got gigantic vampire claws. Like, and then when Wolverine comes in with his bone claws, his response is to say, take it outside, guys. Like, somebody was just like, you're sleeping with my wife, or like, it was going to be a regular bar fight. So then we get a fight here that's pretty bad. Like, the action in this movie is not good in general.
Every single action scene in this movie is like, what acid did I just take to make me watch this? Because it's just so fucking out there. Like, in this scene, this is the scene where Victor throws him into a truck and the truck doesn't stop, and then immediately like drops a bunch of logs on top of Wolverine, and then like, immediately takes all of the logs out off of Wolverine. I'm like, why did you even drop him? Like, he could have just left him. What are you doing?
Why do you even make your bed in the morning? You gotta put the logs on him and then take them off as well. It's just like a cartoon. Like, I didn't think that you could like cut a rope that was tying a bunch of logs and then have them fall onto a person. I thought that only happened in like, River City Ransom.
And ironically, for what I'll be streaming on Sunday, Diablo 3, like, there's a weird thing in Diablo 3 where you could just hit some logs and it kills like level 5,000 enemies instantly. So
it's one weakness. They're load-bearing logs. So they have that fight. Stryker shows up at this point, right? Like, Victor, who calls Wolverine Jimmy? Like, nobody calls Wolverine Jimmy. But, like, he takes him out and brings him to Stryker, or Stryker shows up.
Well,
right?
I'm trying to remember, because at some point he finds his dead girlfriend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was before the fight.
That's when he went to the bar.
Yeah. Sorry, I was getting confused. So yeah, after the logs are dropped on him and he gets hit by the truck, like he wakes up in the hospital and all of the doctors are confused because he's like healed and Stryker shows up and I'm like, what are these poor doctors? Yes. No idea what's going on. And this is actually part of this movie that I kind of dig is Stryker just constantly just fucking with Wolverine's head all of the time. Like he just like double and triple bluffs this dude to a level that is extreme. Like here he tells them like Wolverine has been killing, Sabretooth has been killing all of our friends, all of our old team, and we can't track him down. And Wolverine's like, I'm going to go track him down. And Stryker's like, no, I have to go do this invasive operation on you, and you're going to experience more pain than ever, and then you can do it. And Wolverine's like, sure, yeah, that sounds reasonable. Sure.
Yeah, stick me in the tank, coach. Yeah. The part where I actually like the line where like she's like, this is gonna hurt, and he's like, I've been through it, and I've had worse, and she's like, no, you haven't. Like, I think they sell how awful it is to have meteors attached to your skeleton, which I always assumed would be awful, but boy, do they really show that it looks pretty awful.
Yeah, this looks like the most painful thing. Like all of the needles when they do the X-ray like shot of all of the needles going into Logan's face. That's pretty brutal and about as hard as they could go because this movie is PG-13, right? Like this was before you could do an R-rated superhero movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is a little bit surprising how intense this is. So he escapes with his claws, and this is where we first see the claws, which look awful. Like that's the infamous thing for this movie is how the claws look like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like he has like a cartoon next to his hand that kind of moves with it, but not really.
Yeah. It's the scene in the bathroom that's going to come up in a minute is one like when he's looking at them in the mirror is just like how did this like this looks like the trailer for the Dark Tower that came out before the actual trailer for the Dark Tower movie came out when it was just like the put in place special effects or whatever. Like it looks awful.
Yeah. It's incredible. So like we'll get to that. He goes off on his own. He is sleeping in a barn because he's gone crazy from pain, and an old couple find him. And then they take him in.
Because I want to talk a little bit about the escape scene because not only do they fill this dude up with adamantium, but Stryker has invited an audience. Like this is like a party. Like at some point, like I expected somebody to like walk around with hors d'oeuvres. Like it was ridiculous.
It's like it's so weird when you see like a surgery theater in a movie. Like if somebody's taking out my appendix, I do not need a studio audience to watch somebody like pull out my appendix. Like it's such a weird thing.
I am barely I barely want to be seen by the general public. Like when I prepare myself to go outdoors, much less when my physical skin has been opened up and you can see the inside of my organs. Like I'm just not going to do it now. I'm just not that much of an exhibitionist. It's not going to happen.
Like if I don't want anyone to see me naked, I definitely don't want to see somebody like the Robbie Williams Rock With Me video, like less than naked, like skinless.
There's also
organless. But he goes.
There's also a running good thing here that I kind of laughed every time I saw it because whenever he runs out, like Stryker is following him on these security cameras, and these security cameras just have the best cinematic angles that I've ever seen in my entire life. Like it's way beyond any kind of normal security cams that I've ever seen. Like they go up and zoom in and follow them through trees and the whole nine. It's very, 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 very classy security cams. But let's get to the old people because the old people is one of my favorite scenes in this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like it starts off as kind of good, like the scene in Logan where he's with the family, which is something I like. He goes, they like take him in, they give him some food and stuff. He kind of wises off to him. He puts on a jacket. Fun stuff happens. It's all to get to this bathroom scene though, where he first tries to pop his claws and gets to see them like float next to his, like in the vicinity of his hands. Like next to is probably too strong a word.
Yeah,
like float in the same room as his hands. And is constantly accidentally cutting stuff, and there is no weight to anything.
No,
for special effects.
Not at all. And also, have we ever seen Wolverine's claws? Like, have we ever seen him spark it up, as I like to call this move?
Nope.
bathroom scene that they need the CGI to make him come out, right? That makes sense. But why are they still CG afterwards?
I've seen a guy at a comic convention, because there's a little grippy thing you can hold that has the claws come through. And if you're just doing this, like, anyone can look like they have really good Wolverine claws.
Yeah, this is.
But they just
I have taped butter knives to my hand that look better than this scene, y'all. This was bad.
It's incredible.
And it leads to one of my favorite exchanges where he walks out with the half of a sink that he has clawed in. Like, he's clawed this sink in half, and he walks out with it and looks at these old people and says, "I promise I'll pay you back." Like, Wolverine, do you have any idea how much a sink cost? Like, I guarantee you have no idea how much a sink cost.
Okay, cut to like 2 weeks of work at Lowe's for him to earn enough money to buy a sink with employee discount.
If these poor old people had survived, I really wanted the post-credit scene to be just them getting a Lowe's gift card in the mail, and like signed Wolverine.
Yeah, just like a delivery shows up of a sink, and it's just like, "Sorry, bubs." Yeah, so he destroys these people's bathroom. Like, I hope they have a second bathroom, because this is no good.
Yeah, this is a bad time. And also, like, he cuts up their radiator, and I guarantee you he doesn't know how to fix that. And then they just offer to give him like their son's jacket and motorcycle. Like, this is a weird thing.
Yeah, it's the exchange rate. Like, it's the custom in Canada where if, like, you destroy somebody's plumbing and heat, they give you a motorcycle and a jacket.
Of course, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then the woman just gets shot in the back of the head, kind of out of nowhere. Here, it's like pretty intense. Like, I was surprised by this, by Agent Zero, causing a pretty infamous scene where, like, the people get killed. Wolverine gets very mad, comes out on a motorcycle and is chased by a helicopter through this. They're trying to kill him so they can bring him back to do things with him. Probably turn him into what they eventually do with Deadpool. And he ends up taking out this helicopter by jumping, doing a motorcycle jump.
Yeah, there's several things in this chase scene that I want to talk about, because at one point he's like riding the motorcycle at high speed and decides he needs to be going the other direction when the helicopter shows up.
Yes.
So he just uses his claws to help him drift a 180, which.
Yeah.
This dude was he was born in the 1800s. He went to a bunch of wars, and now he lives in a mountain in Colorado. Like, when did he learn how to drift?
We're getting this Fast and the Furious shit.
Yeah, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't look nearly as cool as the camera thinks it does. Like, it closes up and it's like super slow motion, and it ends up making it look like he actually just took a very considered slow U-turn, like a normal person would do on a highway.
Yeah,
because it slows down so much. It doesn't look like good action cinematography at all.
The part where they like shoot rockets at him and he decides to just propels himself on the rocket explosion onto the helicopter is like, I had to stop it and like rewind it a couple of times and watch it, because I was like, are they really doing this? This is just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it is like supposed to be and these movies, like, keep in mind this came after X-Men 3 and X-Men 2, and both of those, this is one of the marquee action sequences. Mm-hmm. And if you think of the marquee action sequences, even in X-Men 3, they are so much better than this.
Yeah, this really feels like a cut rate Mission Impossible movie at this point. Like, they might as well have just subbed in Tom Cruise for this, right?
Oh man, can you imagine if Tom Cruise got cast as Wolverine during this entire time?
I absolutely can, and he would. The best thing about this is he still would be the same age. Like, they wouldn't have to de-age him at all, because that dude does not age.
Weirdly eternal Tom Cruise. So Wolverine goes on his kind of goes to gather up the team, I guess. Vegas, where Johnny, hold on.
Wraith? John Wraith?
Zero calorie.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Thanks, buddy. If you're thank you. Appreciate it. I'll pay you back. Yep. Goes to his Vegas boxing school.
I had actually had no idea who this dude was. So in my notes, I just have him down as Will I Am in the entire note document, because I could never figure out what this dude's name was. So I get fun sentences like Wolverine and Will I Am fight Gambit in an alleyway.
It's Johnny Wraith or John Wraith, and he's a character again from like a mid 2000s bad X-Men spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
So he trains boxing, like he's trying to get the Blob back into shape. But also runs a boxing school now. Yeah.
This is so weird.
What is the career arc of this guy?
Yeah. This super secret government kill squad really just ruined these dudes for the real world.
I give them a real, like, what kind of job do you have after this? Well, maybe mercenary, maybe private security. Mm-hmm. No, miscellaneous. Like just like throw a dartboard. He runs a boxing school, works at a carnival.
Wolverine
unemployed,
cuts
presumably.
For Big Macs, essentially. It's the only way in the exchange rate.
Super, super annoying. So this whole thing is how the Blob got fat. Like the Blob got super fat, and he's trying to train. He's still super strong and stuff. And this looks so gross. Like this makeup is so bad.
This is super bad, but also like the fact that it looks so gross kind of works for me. Like it's just like I always imagine the character of the Blob as like just a disgusting fat dude, like that just is just way like huge and doesn't clean himself and smells bad. And like they really sell that aspect of the Blob to me in this.
They really oil him up. Like there's some assistant director who just like spritzed him with like a 1-to-1 olive oil water mix.
Stop! I don't. I'm sorry I brought this up. No, let's just keep going. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
They just take his neck prosthetic and dip it in a vinaigrette and then slather it onto his neck.
Yep, there you go. Yep, and just make a really really tight tank top out of Ranch dressing and make him wear it.
Super, super gross. And he's like, hey, tell me where Sabretooth is, Bub. And he goes, what'd you call me? And Bub doesn't sound anything like Blob. And beforehand, Will.i.am was like, don't make fun of his weight. Wolverine makes fun of his weight like 6 times. He says Bub. But he's like, hey, big boy. And it's like, that's, it's so silly.
The very first thing that Wolverine says to him is, hey, fat, I mean Fred. Because that's definitely something that you accidentally say to somebody. Hey, fat, I mean Fred. It'd be like if I said, hey, pimple, I mean Gary. What? That doesn't work.
I appreciate that you don't call me pimple. And also thank you. I've never thanked you for that before. I, as Wolverine, care if he's fat.
Yeah.
Like, what a weird character trait for Wolverine. Like Wolverine is, he's many things. Lumberjack, soldier, super soldier, X-Man, real petty high school bully, real mean about weight issues, and likes to make fun of how people look, like a lot.
And Will.i.am decides the best way to settle this disagreement so that Wolverine can get the information he's looking for is to put Wolverine in boxing gloves and have them fight one another in what has to be the most dumbest fight scene in a superhero movie ever.
One of the guys, Blob punches Wolverine, which throws him into another guy, and like, rest in peace, that guy. Wolverine weighs 2,000 pounds. That guy is definitely dead. Will.i.am's boxing school for people with no future has another black mark in its ledger.
No wonder Will.i.am turned to rapping, right? He kept killing people in the boxing ring.
Well, shit, this didn't work. So this is how he finds out about Gambit.
This is how we find out about Gambit. I do want to say that, like, once he finally figures out how to beat the Blob, like, which is basically like adamantium headbutts, we get this weird like Wolverine leaning into the camera and like puts his like boxing glove up to the camera like this, and then the claws come out, and it is the goofiest thing. Like, it's some of the worst CGI I've ever seen. And it's not only just the CGI, but the concept of Wolverine's claws coming out of a boxing glove. Like, it should have been a punchline.
It's like if they made a second Wii Punch Out, it would be a superpower of one of the competitor.
Exactly.
Man.
But yeah, I had kind of forgotten that Gambit was even in this movie. For as much as we talk about Gambit, it's in our normal Days of Future Cast episodes, like, for me to have forgotten that this happened just shows you how bad this movie was at the time that I saw it. I just put everything about it out of my mind. he finally gets the information out of Blob, and I love this scene where where Wolverine and Will.i.am ride motorcycles down Bourbon Street. I don't know, like, guys, I have been to Bourbon Street many, many times. Like, most of the time, that street is closed off from traffic because it's filled with drunk people. There is no way you're driving motorcycles down Bourbon Street. I'm sorry. It just, like, the concept, like, where did they park to go to this jazz club?
Yeah. The jazz gambling club where Gambit, and, like, I forgot about Gambit being in here as well, because he's neither good nor bad enough to comment on. Expecting him to be like way, way worse, but he's barely a presence in it. Like he's not really a thing. Like he's gambling, he gets into a fight with Wolverine, he does some dumb power stuff, and then he knows how to fly a helicopter.
No, it's
like a plane, and that's Gambit.
That's Gambit, but he also does like card magic. Like the dude has taken a class at like the local community college to learn how to like shuffle cards or something, because there's some real dumb, like, I guess that people thought this was supposed to be cool. Like, I'm going to do a flip and like have a whole thing of cards come out or some bullshit like that. Like, it's just, it's not great at all. And they picked the worst actor for Gambit too. Like this little dude, I'll know him from like Friday Night Lights, right? Like that's where I know this dude from. But he's just like the worst Gambit ever.
He's not charismatic or good. He also has a mustache when you first see him and doesn't have one when he leaves. And I read that on IMDb, and then I watched the scene again, and it's pretty incredible. Like he looks incredibly, like very different.
There's
the reason why.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the reason why he's checking with Gambit is because all of the former people are being brought to an island, and Gambit is the only person to have escaped from the island. But as soon as Wolverine mentions the island, Gambit decides to throw cards at him.
And think about this, Gary. Like you escape from a super secret, like mutant power squishing island, and your name is Remy LeBeau. So you move back to New Orleans, where literally everybody I know has the last name of LeBeau, and you hang out in like the most obvious place for a card dealer with like card magic powers to hang. Like, did he just think that nobody would ever come hang out, come looking for him? Like, it'd be like if I escaped from prison and went back home and just waited for a little while.
Just waited to get caught.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back home.
Go apply to become a police officer.
It's so obvious. The cops will never think to check with my wife.
Yeah. He's also a famous gambler. Like, there's an Easter egg here, which is very weird, is that the other person at the table, other than Wolverine, is a famous New Orleans gambler.
Oh my god, I missed that totally. So,
I don't. Is that something you guys do?
I don't know.
You guys. You people.
Yeah, that's something is like I was surprised by that, but I guess like so he gambles with famous people, so he's not keeping a low profile. He gets into a fight with Wolverine. Eventually bursts out of a wall. There's a part I want to talk about where he takes his staff. It's been cut in half by Wolverine and uses it to climb the wall.
Yeah.
Like, why can't he do that?
What is any of this weird ass like fucking I just lost the word. Like he can just jump everywhere. It's like why can't I think of the thing? Where you have to call it out when you do it from The Office. They're jumping off of dumpsters. I can't remember the name of this word.
Parkour.
Parkour. Yeah, like all of a sudden Gambit has fucking parkour powers out of nowhere. He can just jump everywhere and do anything. And this whole climb up the side of a brick wall thing seems really, really bizarre. We should also mention here that Victor definitely kills Will.i.am while all of this is going on.
And no, there's no. It's very similar. We just talked about the thing with Wolverine fighting Silver Samurai who can teleport. It's the same very unsatisfying thing. Like you're fighting someone who can teleport around. What gets him is just by like telefragging him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he sticks his arm out for Will.i.am to teleport into. Which like what a good sentence. I'm just saying like what a blessed.
Thank you
for Will.i.am to teleport into.
Hey Skrillex, make a drop to that because that's awesome.
Yeah. Which doesn't hurt. Why does that hurt Sabretooth? Like that's how telefragging works.
And it's implied that
and kills Will.i.am.
That Sabretooth like grabs his spine as if he teleports in spine first, which seems really dangerous.
It builds out like Dr. Manhattan.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. This is not great. And yeah, that's so Will.i.am is
combat
dead.
fatality.
Yeah. And
he was.
The whole Gambit fight here is it leads to one of my favorite scenes that if I think I have it marked down in the notes, so I'll go back and make a GIF out of it and throw it on the Twitter for everyone to look at later. But as Gambit has ascended onto this fire escape, Wolverine just uses his brand new metal claws to just like claw the thing down, and you would think he would be like, I'm gonna claw it off the wall and I'm just gonna pull it down, but no, he just like claws it straight up, just straight down, like it's falling, and he's just like eating it, or like he's a wood chipper almost. It's just the weirdest fucking thing.
It's extremely cartoon, man. It's like something the dog would do if like Tom from Tom and Jerry was climbing up a ladder, and the dog would be doing this while he still tried to climb while he's falling. Like, it's so cartoony.
It really is. Do we know that if the X-Men animated series like staff worked on this movie? Because maybe they actually did.
So then Gambit comes back. They fight. They misunderstand. Wolverine finally tells Gambit his actual thing, which is like, we're going to go take down that island. And now we're on the way to the island, where they cut to Stryker.
Real quick, I just want to bring this up. I don't normally do this because like finding realism bullshit in movies is kind of trivial and it's not usually very funny. But I was curious because they specifically say it's 3 Mile Island, which is a real place, and they're in New Orleans, and then they're in a 2-seater Cessna, and 2 hours later they're in 3 Mile Island. I looked it up. It's 1,200 miles that they flew in 2 hours. And by my calculations, roughly, that's like, what, 600 miles per hour that this plane was going?
Gambit supercharged the plane that he knows how to fly.
Yeah. Wait. Do you think that he, like, kinetically powered the propeller, and now they're just shooting through space?
Exactly. Do you think, does it make any sense that Gambit couldn't just be like, we're on 3 Mile Island, as opposed to, like, I have to fly you there? Like, it is extremely... Why? Yeah, it's so weird. Like, take a fucking commercial flight, man.
And this is after, like, because once Sabretooth kills Will.i.am, he, like, and Wolverine takes care, like, knocks Gambit out, Wolverine and Gambit start fighting, and Gambit breaks it up and, like, tells Sabretooth to go, and then helps Wolverine. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know what's going on in any of this.
Any potential coolness has already like way left the building. Like, everything that happens from here on out is everything that happens is somehow the stupidest thing that happens up until the post-credit sequence. And it's kind of amazing. Like, we are on just a rocket ride to dumb movie badness here. There's a part where they cut to Stryker explaining his plan. And he says this line, I wrote it in quotes, where he says, I finally found the combination of the right powers that can coexist in a body without ripping it apart. Like, can you imagine, like, being a trained actor and, like, going to acting school and then having to have a line where it's like, I finally found the right combination of powers that can exist in a body without ripping it apart. Where does any of this come from? Like, the idea that, like, if you...
This all reminds me of that classic thing that we know from Ian McKellen, where he's like, I have no idea what I was doing as Magneto. Like, I would just, like, wave my arms around and, like, they would just tell me what to say. That has to be what it's like to play on these movies, man, because a lot of it just does not make any sense.
Yeah, it's so there's so many concepts here that are being hand-waved away, like being introduced to. Like, one, you can stick powers in a body. 2, make sure you do it right, because if you put the wrong combination in, it can explode the body.
Do you think that was a surprise when they learned that for the first time, and they were just like, "Okay, we got this power out of a body," which I don't know, like, what physical representation that would take on, but like, and then they just put it in another body, and then all of a sudden, boom, and they were like, "Oh shit, we're gonna have to figure this out."
That's why I'm gonna start a change.org petition to do X-Men Origins,
where it just explains everything in the X Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, X-Men Origins Wolverine, Origins Wolverine, Stryker, where we learn about how this happened. And this is also where they reveal, so Wolverine shows up, and this is where his girlfriend comes back, and there's the big twist, who's Kayla Frost.
Yes.
I don't think that Emma Frost has a sister who has, I don't think this is in canon. I could be wrong about that. But it's very weird to have this as a...
I don't know if you're not going to believe this, but I did not look anything up about this movie after I watched it because I was so bored. I can tell you when you Google Kayla Frost, all it comes up with is a bunch of random chicks' Facebook profile pictures. So I'm assuming that this is not canon.
Frost is a pretty badass last name. Like, I'm kind of jealous about that.
Yeah,
cool.
Robert.
Yeah, Robert Frost. Yeah, he's the most badass.
Yeah.
Well, the Frost.
On the level of Frost, where we got Robert, Emma, and then like way down below ice is Kayla.
Yeah. So this is like kind of the early. Oh, we actually skipped the part where Sabretooth harvests Cyclops. I didn't write a note about that for some reason.
I forgot to talk about Cyclops. Gary, this might actually be like a fun Cyclops treatment for me. Like I thought it was going to be kind of shitty because he was the like the bad kid in school or whatever. But like we get this fun scene where he has to go like do detention and write lines like he's fucking Bart Simpson on the chalkboard. And and I kind of like the idea of Cyclops just the genesis of all of his anger is having to write lines from his Spanish teacher giving him detention. It just makes me laugh a whole lot.
And ultimately, what he does when Sabretooth takes his head and uses it as that like beam to slice half of the school apart, like his powers are way crazier than they ever end up being, which makes sense because he hasn't had any training or anything at this point.
Yeah,
I don't know who gave him those glasses, but like it's a cool scene, I guess.
I guess he just kept trying on glasses and exploding sunglass huts until he got the right one.
Yeah, like that Carol. Of different glasses and just taking each one.
Nope, not that one. Not that one. You are not allowed at this mall anymore, Scott Summers. Leave.
You just blasted an entire sunglasses hut, and the glasses that survived were the ones that were.
That's actually very smart. Like, dug through the rubble. Pretty cool. And then put it on and went to school. So this is very similar to X-Men 2. Now that they're at the facility, I've run out of notes because it's all just a bunch of real bad fights up until Deadpool gets revealed.
Yeah, all of this, and this is like a lot of like emotional Wolverine too, because once the Kayla betrayal is revealed, like he's just like, I'm just not worth it. I'm just gonna adopt the animal or whatever. Like he's got like a lot of like self-loathing, brooding thing happening, which I guess is like interesting for some people. It's not very interesting to me at all, though.
No. There's a bunch of cameos. So there's all these mutants in cages.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see Stryker's son. We get to see Iceman. We get to see a Quicksilver. We get to see a Whirlwind character.
I assume that was Dust, but maybe not. Maybe that's a Whirlwind.
Yeah.
But I was
there's a Whirlwind character and there's Dust. They're both in there. So there are a couple cool cameos. Like I like cameos. They're not great. They don't do anything except for Emma Frost, who turns into like diamond form. And I totally forgot that Emma Frost was in this movie because there's not really a reason for her to be.
Because she's not like, I mean, I know Emma Frost has that ability or whatever. That's why it's in the movie. But like, when you think of Emma Frost, do you immediately go to diamond form? Like, no, you always go back to like crazy, cool, rich socialite, kind of bitchy mind reader. Like she's up against Xavier. She's not like leading a herd of children out of this weird Weapon X facility.
No, and because she wears S&M gear in public as well. Like that's the other thing that.
Also, you think about the S&M gear. My bad, I did forget that.
Yeah, Emma Frost like business corset that she wears to like in her day-to-day life. Like that's what I So very, very strange. Like essentially, and they've come up with they found these adamantium bullets. And there's a scene where Stryker's like, yeah, I'm going to shoot him in the head. And he's like, he'll heal from that. And he's like, yeah, but it'll erase his memory. Like, what the fuck is this memory gun? And this idea that if you shoot somebody in the head at the right place, they will just lose, like, specific memories.
And not just veg out.
Like, yeah, like, that's your goddamn plan, Stryker? Is to shoot, like, we're here to shoot him in the head until he loses his memory?
No wonder it takes him years to get to the point where he is in X-Men 2, right? Like, we don't see this dude again for, like, 40 years. And it's only because he, like, is just living out this over and over again. Like, why did I think the adamantium bullet would work? That was fucking stupid, Stryker. Just beating himself up about it.
There's, like, a series of webisodes that were planned that were just, like, back to the drawing board. That were just, like, Stryker trying to, like, make this work. It's incredible. It is incredibly dumb. His plan to use this memory gun and then unleash Deadpool, who looks nothing like Deadpool. Like he looks like a Mortal Kombat character. Sew his mouth shut, which is like one of the things people like about Deadpool. And he has none of Deadpool's powers. He just has everyone's powers.
Yeah. Like and he's not even ugly.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do this to Deadpool, like make him like what Deadpool looks like in the comics. Like make all of these powers literally not explode him, but make him look like Freddy Krueger, like he looks like in the comics. But they didn't even do that. Like that seems like a miss. They just kind of dress him up in this weird like I don't know what these things are. Like all of his weird tattoos are. And yeah, he has everybody's powers. Like and it's. Like Wolverine keeps being surprised by a power, and that's like the hook for the rest of this movie. It's like Wolverine almost wins a fight, and then Deadpool's like, "Oh yeah, I have optic blast." Oh, Wolverine almost wins a fight. Oh yeah, I can teleport. Wolverine almost wins a fight. Oh yeah, I've got swords in my arms now.
When he uses his optic blast, he probably destroys the entire state that 3 Mile Island is in. Like they zoom out for him just go do this 360 like straight out of a video game super move. To do an area of effect attack of like his beams around. And I'm just like, how many thousands of people just died from this fight, Wolverine? Like you shitty superhero.
And like let's get into this fight because luckily Wolverine like tells the kids to go one direction, right? So it's just him and Deadpool. But Wolverine's idea to run up to the top of a nuclear reactor to fight the super mutant is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I don't know, maybe he's scared of heights is Logan's idea right now. Like, I don't know much about him.
He says like, let's see him get up here. And it's like, you got up here, dog. Like other people had to get up here, and it took them, presumably Deadpool a while to climb up. So there's at least like 2.5 minutes of Wolverine like kind of standing around like, okay, they thought this far, but I don't know what's going to happen next. Like, I hope he doesn't show up. Like, were you planning to live up there? Like, why aren't you fighting the villain? What are you doing?
And then all of a sudden Victor is up there too. Like Victor just shows up out of fucking nowhere. Like I didn't even know he was still on the island. I thought like that dude had left.
Yeah. Who helps Wolverine defeat shitty Deadpool.
And the reason we have that turnaround, we didn't really talk about it, but Stryker had promised Victor that he was going to give him the adamantium because he has like this weird complex with Logan where even though he's the bigger brother, he wants to be better than Logan for some reason, which what? Like, the entire time all we did is see Victor be like this mindless killer, and now all of a sudden he has like a weird complex. Like he doesn't care about like killing and raping people in Vietnam. It's just about this one thing.
Yeah. He wants this adamantium skeleton so badly that he will literally do anything. Like it's just like I will kill any number of my former friends to get this thing. It is so bad and dumb. He helps him kill him, but this is where Emma Frost leads all the kids out to like melty candle Xavier, like Charlie Brown doll that was left on the hood of a car in the summer. Xavier.
Yeah. This is
what
terrible.
can even be said about this?
I don't like. Is this all CGI or is this? Did they take Patrick Stewart from another movie and like CGI him into this movie? Like, did they was he usually wearing his outfit from The Next Generation and they just like digitally changed it because they couldn't get the Patrick Stewart
space on every frame?
Yeah,
I know he rolls. I don't know where he came from. He rolls out of the woods. Like on his wheelchair, like
no, he's actually. They make a point.
In the woods on 3 Mile Island.
They make a point of showing him walk off the excuse me. They're making a point after showing him walk off the helicopter. Like so this was before the X-Men 1 or whatever, which I guess is like a fun time thing if you want to do this in canon. But when they show him walk up, like it's just I've never seen CGI like this. It's like Brayton. I think he brought it up in like it was like the scene with the guy from The Force Awakens that they all CGI'd up, just infinitely worse.
Yeah, Brayden brought that up. Yeah, it's like if you look at somebody's face, there are lines and shadows that indicate three-dimensionality to it. And the way that they de-aged him was just to like grab the dropper tool from Microsoft Paint, grab a normal flesh tone, and cover over any of those depths. So his face looks very flat. Yep. As well, like he's a Renaissance painting of a saint coming out of the woods. It is, and then they smeared his entire face with Vaseline. Like they took the blob brush from the Vegas set and just kind of slathered up his face to make him look real soft and shiny and gross. He is like really waxy. It does not look good.
I'm gonna just because I think it's important that everybody in chat look this. I'm gonna post a link. Oh my God, no, I'm not. Jesus Christ, I ruined chat. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. What did I do? How do I delete this message?
It's
Jeremy, please. I need to put the picture up.
Somebody, please delete that. I don't know how to delete this message anymore. I was gonna try to post it.
Or did you accidentally post something like way fouler than?
No. I posted what I thought was a link to the image, but it ended up being this like 5,000 character. I'm good at computers, everybody.
It does look like that though. Like that's the kind of
This is
so pictured here, Charles Xavier. Then the movie kind of ends.
Sure.
Like Wolverine walks away. Everybody's fine, I guess.
Well, I mean, Wolverine does get shot. Like we should talk about that.
Yeah.
Like he does get
He
shot.
gets shot with a memory gun.
Mm-hmm. And then Kayla tells Stryker to like walk until his feet bleed, and then to keep walking. And up until this point, I assumed that she had to touch somebody, and they like make a point of showing that she's touching his ankles. But then he just turns around and keeps going, and I'm like, so she can like power somebody to do something forever? Like, why did she need to hang out with Wolverine? Like, touch that dude once and just make him sit still for 6 years. Like, why give this dude a life?
Creature powers all of us. I think she's supposed to have like just like emotional control and manipulation before.
Yeah.
But now she has like God from Preacher.
That's exactly what I was going to reference to.
It's a real weird choice.
And there's something that we missed here earlier because I meant to bring it up, but there's a moment in all of this fight scene that Gambit shows up, and Gambit like saves Wolverine for something, and Gambit's like, "Man, you said you were going to kill everybody, and you really did." And Wolverine's like, "Do I look like the guy that messes around?" And I'm like, Sabretooth is still alive. Stryker is still alive. Like, you didn't kill a single person that mattered. Like, there's some guards maybe that you killed, but that's it.
You've inconvenienced them, and they'll have to start over at a new facility at Alkali Lake.
Yeah.
Like, you've essentially evicted them.
Yeah.
And that's the extent of what you've done, Wolverine.
All you did was like infest their house with roaches, and they had to move. That was your big superhero move. You've
done the mutant equivalent of gentrifying their neighborhood. It's like you opened a Whole Foods. Like equivalent. That's what you've done, Wolverine. Whole Foods. Like it is all you've managed to do. Sadly. So then, I mean, we're kind of credits. Like it is so hard to pay attention to this movie at the end. Like because it just keeps getting worse. And then credits. There are 2 post-credit scenes. One that it was cut out of later editions. Where Wolverine's drinking and someone's like, "Are you drinking to forget?" And he goes, "I'm drinking to remember." And that's it. But then there's the big one that shows there's going to be a sequel where Deadpool, whose head was cut off, and his arm is cut off, kind of goes, "Shh, like I'm going to be back, audience," and then wasn't.
And of course, not for years.
That's the worst Deadpool there ever could have been.
It's you couldn't make a worse Deadpool. Like it's extremely bad. Like. There's probably action figures of that guy. I gotta find those.
Oh, I bet that's terrible. Especially if there's like a little button on his back that make those swords come in and out of his hands. That would be great.
Oh man.
Yeah, this movie is not
so
great.
Like this kind of. Well, it killed the franchise for a while between this and X-Men 3.
Yep.
Like it was like these were so bad, and they didn't do anything. They ended up making a second Wolverine movie, but then the franchise was over for a long time until First Class. Like,
which is arguably like a reboot. Like Wolverine shows up in that for a brief second, but like more or less was like, we fucked up, y'all. We're going to start from the beginning, way back in the '60s. Yeah,
we had to go back before any of the main characters were born to make this okay. Like it is. It's extremely bad. It's worse than I remember. Like the parts that I thought were kind of okay were a little bit better than I remember. The parts that I remembered being bad are way worse than I remember.
Anything with CGI or an action scene is so bad that like it almost loops around for me to like this. I could probably watch this again just to laugh at it. Like it's just, it makes it like it's a good bad movie. Like I think like because there's so many dumb lines, there's so many dumb things. Like Taylor Kitsch's Gambit has to be one of the worst decisions I've ever seen on a film in my life. It's like he does a bad accent.
I really wish like I really wanted to see him like do something gross and Gambit-y, you know.
Yeah, there was not even like a woman in the room while he was around, so they didn't even give him a chance to be lecherous, which is a real disappointment from the Days of Future Cast crowd. I know, like I was really hoping that he would do something that we could like mine for some comedy, but nope, just dumb like card magic.
It's his primary power. Like it's the main thing I think of with Gambit. Like is how much of a scuzzbag he is, and if I had a kid, I wouldn't let him date him. Like
if I had a kid, I would train him to kill Gambit, much less let him date him.
You and Autumn are going to start raising super soldiers to take out in case Gambit ever apparates into the real world.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, this
is there
this
like? Do you think that?
Bad.
Yeah, it's extremely bad. I'm very disappointed in the creators and everything. Is there anything like for people who are listening or people who are watching the stream? Is there anything like? Do you think it's recommendable? Do you think it's bad enough to like tell somebody to watch it? Are there caveats for that? What do you think?
I mean, personally, for me, I would say like if you get to X-Men 3 and you're like X-Men 3 was pretty bad, I would say like okay, well you could probably put up with an hour and 40 of this bullshit. Like if you just like the X-Men or whatever. But no, I can't possibly recommend somebody and be like, oh yeah, you should definitely watch this. Like it would have to be, I want to watch this to make fun of it.
Yeah, it can't be like a civilian. Like you can just go up to a normal person, like a coworker who doesn't care about comics or X-Men, and be like, "Yeah, you know, you should watch this. This is a film. You know, like this is a movie." Sure. And you couldn't like hand it to them on that level. Mm-hmm. It has to be like you know who all these characters are already, and the entirety of the joy you're going to get from this is watching Wolverine fight Will.i.am. Like if you think that's funny and good, then I think it's probably worth watching.
Gary, we did not bring up Will.i.am's horrible country Southern accent. Like he's talking like a stereotypical Texan the entire movie. It's so weird. Like all he says is like, "Yeah, Logan, what? I sure do think that boxing can help you," or whatever. Like it's the strangest accent.
But also, that's the extent of any acting going into it.
Yeah, It's just everybody learns an accent in the movie.
I think that's pretty much everyone drew an accent out of a hat. Like, I think that's what acting is you just be yourself with an accent.
What's my motivation? Like, Italian.
Yeah. He dresses like a neon sign that would be in the American Southwest, like selling cars. Like here's Rodeo Jimmy's House of Used Dodge. And like he's a neon sign of that. That's how he dresses. Like or like a
Will.i.am,
Boogie Nights,
frankly.
Is that how Will.i.am dresses normally?
I think so.
Like,
yeah.
Is Will.i.am a cowboy, Jeremy?
I mean, it's usually Will.i.am is the rapping cowboy. Yes, this is exactly. He's just playing himself.
The rapping cowboy. Man, I have checked out of hip hop for too long.
You gotta get back, man.
What those rapping cowboys about? Well, shit, man. Do we have any other wrap up stuff?
No, not. I don't think so. I know we had a bunch of donations come in. Do we want to read some of those? I've got some more time here. So.
Yeah. Let's definitely do that. Can you take the lead on that while you use the bathroom?
Yeah.
Nick? All right, I'll be back, Jeremy. Don't leave without me saying bye.
Okay. All right, y'all. I'm gone. Fuck Gary. Bye.
Hi, Jeremy. How you doing? All right, give me just a moment here because I have to boot this thing fresh.
Oh, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Hey,
no, not at all.
While Nick is getting that, Chad, what would have made this movie better? Like, I want to know that your X-Men characters that you think would have been better in this movie than the murder squad that we got full of like early 2000s weirdos. Because I'm very curious.
The fact that you think it's just characters is the problem.
Yeah, that's my problem. Yeah. Also, Eric in chat is telling me to tell. I don't know how any of this Twitch stuff works. to sub to Twitch Prime if they have Amazon, because the proceeds for that go to the Duckstream, or excuse me, go to the Transactive charity that they're raising money for. So if you have Amazon Prime and you click the little button on Twitch that makes you that says like subscribe to this channel, you can do that for free, and Transactive will get money. So that's awesome.
Yeah, you can do it one channel per month. You can subscribe to for free if you have Amazon Prime. So.
Someone in chat is saying fans would be a good fit, and like I say yes, but like I want to see the budget where his like sentient spaceship is following him around while he's dealing with Wolverine, because that would be hilarious. Hey, that worked. We actually got 2 subs from that, so that's awesome. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and thanks everybody for donating. We're getting to your donations now. After this, we've got some multiplayer stuff coming up. We're not exactly sure what, but we'll be playing some games.
Yeah, I'm going to play around with the mics for just a little bit to fix the issues we had coming into this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous that everybody's talking about your suit, Gary, because since I'm also like streaming video to you guys and you're streaming that to the internet, I don't have the stream on and I can't see you right now. So I have no idea what this Christmassy suit is.
Oh,
I bought a holiday suit. It's novelty. It's not like real clothing. It's like it's made out of some kind of synthetic material. The pants like are very weird and stretchy and feel like tearaway pants a little bit. Foreshadowing.
Ooh.
You're
gonna go full Joe Bluth later, and I'm gonna be excited about it.
Yeah.
All right,
illusion, Jeremy.
So let me. Before we get to that, let's see where we're at on our total. So we're at
6%.
Yeah, we're at $570.77. 7.61% within the first hour and a half, y'all.
Not bad.
Thank you, everybody, for donating.
We had a couple donations come in before we even got started, so I'm going to start right from the beginning. First donation today was from Mark R. $20 from Mark R. Thank you, Mark. Jeweled Law donated $50.
Oh, thank you, Jeweled Law.
And said that this donation is made on behalf of my dear friend Shakina Nafak, who is not only a transgender rock star, but this also happens to be her birthday.
So, happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Yeah. Joshua Garrity donated $6.69 and said, "Good luck, Duck Streamers."
Oh, thanks, Josh. That's Josh from the Community podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Shu, name I see all the time. $13. Go Duckstream.
Thank you, Tim.
13 Briars, $30. Thank you, Ducks.
Yay. Thank you.
Gordy Freeman Jr., $25. Y'alls are swell.
Thank you. You also too are swell.
Yous are also. Alexander Douglas McConnell said, "I'm sad I'm not going to be here for the whole stream. Just know I heart all your faces. Yes, even Jeremy, even though he's the worst."
It is a fiction that we
we have finally put me and Gary have settled our beef. Or excuse me, I should be more accurate. Me and Roars have settled our beef together. So.
Z Chocobo donated $2.
Yay.
Wolverine donated $150.
Thank you very much. Big donation.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah. Merva donated $20.08. I assume was trying to get that to some total that didn't work out. Ides of April, $150.69.
Thank you, Ides of April.
Holy
Big
shit.
donation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cybernaut, $10. Seek donations. Let this land swallow you whole.
Soul
Love
reference.
it. Love
Thank you.
Guybrush Bolter, $25.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the most recent one currently is Holland Mofo. $15. Can't stick around, but thank you for discussing this art house masterpiece of a film.
Yes.
You're welcome.
You know what? I'm going to put that when we put this up on the actual feed. I'm going to say that Jeremy and Gary discussed this art house masterpiece of a film. That's going to be the show notes.
You guys seen Logan, right? You're going to love this. We're really going to.
It's the same director. It's the same guy.
We've got some bits there too, but I don't know how to check those out. So thanks everyone who threw some cheers and bits out too.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. We got a bunch of subscribers as well. So
yeah, thank you very much, everybody. We're going strong. Like it's we're not leaving. So
I just saw that my good friend Caitlin subbed with a $5 sub, and I just want to shout out to her because she's Australian, and they just signed in their gay marriage, and that's super awesome news. And congratulations, Caitlin. So
congrats fucking nation's Australia, man. Like that is that is great.
That is super
That is
awesome.
That is super good. Yeah, I have a lot of the people who I regularly interact with on Twitter are from Australia.
Yeah, same.
And it was really good to see. That blew up my timeline, and it was good news. So
there's a
we just got something else.
weirdly high percentage of people that have been on Don't Give Up Skeleton from Australia. Like, it's bizarre how many people that are into Souls and that also live in Australia.
they have to play the game to escape the gigantic scorpions that are about. Yeah.
Caitlin is saying they also removed the requirement for trans kids to have to go to court to get treatment this week, so that's also a victory for Australia, which I wasn't quite aware of, so that's awesome too.
Yeah, go Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. I take back when I watched the Simpsons episode Bart versus Australia, I used to always side with Bart, and now I side with Australia. Boot that kid.
God, that Game
So,
Boy joke
kick
in
that
that
10-year-old.
and the Game Boy on the plane thing is just one of my favorite jokes of all time. Like, it never wears thin for me.
Oh yeah,
Turn it back on. Turn it back
that's when
on.
they go to Japan. That's when they go to Japan.
Oh, my bad.
When they go to Australia, the frog sneaks back.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Frog sneaks to destroy their land. Yeah, and at one point, the dad is like, "Tobias, $700 dues," and that dollar dues joke destroys me. Yeah, very very funny. Cool. So we're going to take a quick break to do some technical stuff.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
I'll be back on Sunday, but you should pay attention to these boys, these nice good boys that are going to be entertaining for your amusement. So
we will be entertaining and for amusement. Later, people who are watching this who like Days of Future Cast, later I'm going to show the process of doing those theme songs. Like, it's not like it's magic, but I thought that would help kill time. So I'm going
just
to
being brutally honest there. I just thought I'd help kill time.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it would be something, and people express some interest in seeing that. So that's coming later. You'll get to see the entirety of this Days of Future Cast. And Jeremy can live stream recording the opening bumper later.
Yeah.
And you can see how the entire sausage is made.
I'll tell you what, later on I'll stream editing this episode and uploading it to Fireside so that it will be on the feed. It'll be real interesting.
People love slow Twitch. Like, let's get into edit streams. Like, let's get
I love it. Yeah.
let's get some next level stuff. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank y'all.
Thanks for
Have a good one.
participating in this.
Bye,
Thanks
chat.
for being part of the network.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.